Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of this workshop presented by the SPEEDIER project on a new approach to selling energy audits and energy efficiency advice to SMEs. My name's Jo Southernwood, and I work for the International Energy Research Centre, and we're coordinating the SPEEDIER project. Really nice to see so many of you online this morning. Thank you for coming. If you are returning to us and you joined us yesterday on day 1, welcome back. Nice to see you again. If you didn't join us yesterday and this is your first time, welcome. There's no problem that you were not at yesterday's session because we have recorded the session. We're recording this session too, and they will be available on our website in a few days' time. So if you missed session 1 and you'd like to listen in and hear what we talked about yesterday, that's fine. You can do that whenever you have some time. So let's start then. This morning, welcome everyone. We are recording the session. So if you can please make sure to keep your cameras off and your microphones muted during the session, that will help us to make sure everything runs efficiently. It is an interactive session. So please, you can use the chat function to ask us questions at any time during any of the presentations, or if perhaps we're saying something that you agree with and you have a comment to make about that, please use the chat and talk to us, and we'll try to get to your questions at the end of each session. If we don't manage to get to all of your questions today, we will take a note of them and we can email you the answers after the session. Also, if you have any technical problems with Teams or with seeing the slides or the presentations, just again type in the chat function, and my team who are online with us this morning will try to help to resolve those problems for you. This is intended to be an interactive session. We want to hear from you, and at certain points during the morning we'll have some surveys and polls for you to participate in. We will explain exactly how to access those polls as we go through so that you can participate, and we really value your feedback, so please do participate, and as I say, if you have some questions, please let us know. So the agenda for today: yesterday we gave you an overview of the SPEEDIER service. We talked about moving from a product-based business model approach where you sell an energy audit towards a service-based approach, where what you're trying to do is build a relationship with the small and medium-sized enterprise that you're trying to work with. We talked about how to change your approach so that you're working with the SME to find out their strategic business objectives and to understand how you can align your services and your offering in terms of energy with those strategic business objectives, so that it's more likely that they will progress through the audit and through the implementation phase of the energy conservation measures that are recommended. We talked about how to develop an energy culture and the importance of having someone in the organisation that can help you to gather data. And we talked about some options for financing mechanisms, so how to assist your SME to finance some of those energy efficiency measures themselves by ring fencing savings that are made from easy, quick win, no cost measures. So if you missed all of that yesterday, you're very welcome. In a few days' time, log on to our website and you can listen to those discussions that we had yesterday. Today, we're taking a slightly different approach, and we are talking about some of the tools that the SPEEDIER project has developed to assist energy experts to implement this process. So we're talking about 2 tools today. The first one is the SPEEDIER tool for SPEEDIER experts. This is brand new, that's been developed over the last 18 months by my project team, and my colleague Diana is going to talk to you about the concept behind the tool and then give you a live demonstration. In the registration link that you received with the link to log on to this webinar, you also received a link to register for access to the tool. So you have access now. The process is that you register on ITEC's website first, and then there's a second link that takes you to the tool so that you can log in and test it for us, and we'd love to hear your feedback. The second session this morning will also talk about the SPEEDIER mobile application. This has been developed more for SMEs themselves to help develop that energy culture that we talked about yesterday. And then finally today, we'll talk a little bit about how to measure the impact of some of these services and a little bit more about how to continue working with the SPEEDIER project going forward. So as you can see, we have plenty of time for questions and answers. So do talk to us in the chat. Let us know whether you agree with what we're saying. If you have questions, if you'd like more information, just let us know. So now I'm going to hand over to my colleague Diana from iTech, and she's going to tell you all about the SPEEDIER tool for experts.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, hello, I'm Diana Romeu from iTech, Institut de Tecnologia de la Construcció de Catalunya, from Barcelona, and we have been developing the last month the SPEEDIER tool. The tool that we'll present to you today is a beta version. We will keep developing it during the next few months until the end of the project, almost. And I will show you the index from today. It will be two parts. The first one, it's about the characterization of the SME. And the second one is about the energy tool itself. I'm just more of the time will be on the energy tool because I want you to know how it works and going step by step to try to create a new project. So in the first part, it's about the characterization of the SME, and we have the characterization SME itself, the climate and the schedule we use to characterize it, and the energy conservation measure classification, and finally the prices, because our database has Spain prices, and we have to relate it to the other European countries. And finally, I said the energy tool. We talked just about the methodology that the energy tool is thinking, and the usability of the energy tool that we go online to show you how it works. And finally, just a brief session summary of the key points. So, first of all, we have to establish the technical characteristics of the SMEs in order to associate with more appropriate energy management solutions and to the best measures that they can apply. So for that, we have established 4 main items, as you can see here. The envelope of the building, the energy consumption elements that it's on the SME, the schedule is the time that the SME is working. In the tool, I will show you how we use this data. And finally, the climate. We have defined different climate zones. I will see in the next slide. We have defined different regions in the 4 countries that we have the pilot sites. That's Italy, Romania, Spain, and Ireland. As you can see, there's different colors for the regions, and in each region we have different data. So it's not the same, the north of Ireland from the south of Italy, for example. We have data from the annual heating hours and the annual cooling hours that we'll use later in the tool to calculate how many hours the installation of heating and cooling are working. We also have made an energy conservation measures classification. Sorry. The first one is from families in order to relate the SPEEDIER solutions with the measure. So this is the families. We call it, the first one is heating, ventilation, air conditioning, envelope, domestic hot water, communication and education, lighting, transformer, office, and process heating. And we also have made another classification about the prices. As I think we talked yesterday, we have 4 types of measures: no cost, low cost, medium cost, and high cost. And in the tool, these measures have been defined by colors. So no cost has the black color, the low cost measure have the green color, the medium cost measure have the yellow color, and finally the high cost, they are the red color. So this classification, we use it on the SPEEDIER tool. And the prices. The database that we have used to the SPEEDIER tool is from iTech. It's called VDEC. and has prices from Spain. So we have established a relationship between the different countries and Spain. We have used a report from the European Union that established the relation between all the 28 countries from the European Union. And we have established that Spain will be rated 1. So the other countries will be related to this one. The tool, it will propose you the ratio prices, but you can change it, okay? So here is how the SPEEDIER tool works. It's a circular system. So when the SPEEDIER expert has the information from the building, from the audit, because the SPEEDIER tool, it's not an audit tool. It's a tool that assists the SPEEDIER expert to show to the SMEs how can apply the measures, which benefits we have with applying the measures, and to be an interactive way to do it. So when the SPEEDIER expert introduces all the information in the energy tool, the energy tool makes these calculations and proposes some measures that the SPEEDIER expert can choose, can make simulations, and can go to the SMEs and explain what they think they have been the best measures to apply. So when they select one pack of measures, they will apply it. So the people who's working in the SME applies the measures. It will use the app, mobile app that will explain it later. And the SPEEDIER experts has to follow up these applications and have to report the energy and cost saving again to the energy tool. So the measures that we proposed in the energy tool will be theoretical savings calculated with the tool, and then the SPEEDIER expert will introduce real data. So the tool will learn how these measures really are improving the building. It's as I say, it's a circular system, and the tool will be learning through the system. And how when we have more projects, the tool will be better because all the data will be informing the people will be more accurate. So I'm going now to share my screen, and we're going to the tool that I think it's the main purpose of this session. Okay, that's the main login page. Here you have to log in, and previously you have to be registered on the ETEC website, as we explained you in the mail before. So we're going to introduce. I have to select an entity because I'm from ETEC, but you have not to do that. And we're going to the main screen from the SPEEDIER tool. The screen where you can manage all your projects. Okay, it's okay. Oh, charging. I have 2 projects today, but you can manage it here. Okay, you can create a new project. On the top of the right, you have your settings, and on the top on the left, you have the principal menu. We have here the project home where we are now. We have also building information. We have to enter all the data we have recollect from the energy audit. And finally, we have the saving measures proposals. Okay. I will start to creating a new project. Here is the formulary. First of all, we have to name it. Test. Building name, we have to introduce a building. Going to and then a surface in square meters of our building. We have to, the owner and the note descriptions, we can fill these fields, but it's not obligatory. Then here is the country. As I said before, we have established the data from 4 countries, the 4 pilot regions that we have established in the SPEEDIER project. And for each one, we have different regions about different data from climate. They have different climate zones, as you can see. There's a lot of data include that. And I will go with Spain, with the place I am.
Pues tienes que estar calladito.
So, can you turn off your phone? Thank you. Okay, we are going in Barcelona. We can add an address or a location, but it's not obligatory in this beta version. And finally, we have established the building type. We have a list. You can see it's a list of types of activities from the building. I go with the first one. We have to confirm it. And then, okay, I have to save it. When we save it, we return to the main screen where we can manage our information. If we want, we have to delete it, or we have to edit the information we have on the project if you want. And then we can go to all the principal menus. Now we are going to the building information. As you can see, we have 4 submenus here: use details, economic data, energy contributions, and building information. We are going through all of them. So first of all is use details. Here we have a list of the building activities. If there is in your building, you can create a new activity. For example, legal office. And we save it. That action is completed successfully. So legal office will be on the list. Okay, you can change legal office. Perfect. Schedule and profile. As I told you before, we use the time that the SME is working. It's a lot of types of schedule. You can show and you can select which one you want. I'm going with 8 hours, 5 days per week. And the tool proposes you an annual usage schedule. So that's the time that the building is working. That data is used, for example, for the lighting. We calculate how many hours the lighting is working. You can change this directly if you want, for example, but you will lose your schedule profile. You can return and change it again, and the new one is on the screen. The annual heating hours and the annual cooling hours, it provides from the region that you have selected previous in the creation of the project. That will use, as I said before, to calculate the time that the installations are working in heating and cooling type, and the amount of users that your building has. We save it. Okay, correctly edited. We are going to the next menu. It's economic data. This will be used to show how is the cost of the measures and how will be the economical return. So, as I said before, Spain has number 1. You can change it if you have more specific data. The same with the Spain fuel prices. We have the list for the 4 pilot site countries. So, but if you are not agree with all the data that is provided for the tool, you can change it. It's not a problem. And finally, the interest rate. We use the interest rate to calculate the economical return. This interest rate is the proportion of the loan that is charged as interest to the borrower. If you don't need to borrow money, you can you put here 0. But if there's an interest rate that will involve your project, you have to introduce the number and save it. Always you have to save the formularies. Any contributions. This formula is a little bit different than the other ones because we use this when in our building that has solar panels. If we haven't, we don't have to fill it. We have to leave it. But if later in the measures you want to apply some of the measures that concerns to installations of solar panels, the tool will tell you that you have to fill all this formula. So when you apply the measures, there will be a message that tells you that you have to come again to energy contributions and fill the information below. Here you have to select a fuel type, any one you want. For example, I went on save it because we were a project that it has in panel solars, and the covered percentage that the electricity will save by the solar panels. It has to be 10%. So you have 2 types of fuel. in totally have to be 10%. I will show you how the program won't leave me save it. Okay, the values on format impact sum mass 100%. Okay, so now we are going to the building information. Here we have, oh, I spelled it wrong, the name, well, don't worry. Here we have all the building solutions from the audit. We have two types, enveloping elements, that includes facade, floors, roof, and energy consumption elements, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, hot water, lighting, and other equipment. In order to add one of them, you have to click here. And on the right will appear the formulary. And we're going to create one facade. Okay, I have done it before, so it remains the name. The surface from this facade. We have to establish the orientation. And here we have the technical information. It's a tool that you have to choose between one of the options that the tool will provide to you. So we are going with facade wall. The type of composition, we have to choose double layer or single layer. The main support, we have to choose between all these options. I'm going with the one. And the thermal insulation, we have to establish if you have or haven't. And the type of the thermal insulation, it's expanded polystyrene, or mineral wood, polyurethane right foam, or extruded polystyrene. We chose this, and we have to establish the thickness of this insulation. We can finish here if you haven't windows, but you can also define the windows that we have on the facade. Have this type of glass, and we have to choose the frame type, for example. Then we have to fill the surface from these windows, the total surface on the windows in this facade. And we save it. I'm not going to floors and roof, but I will show you how it's the formulary. It's the same system. You have to name it first of all and establish the surface, and then you have the technical information of each one. The same the roof or the deck. It's the same formulary or a similar formulary than in facade. Here we have different options. In heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, we don't have technical information until we have established the type, because in each type of heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, there's information you have to introduce different between them. So I'm going to create a heating and cooling. Okay. As you can see, here are the options: cooling only, cooling towers, energy contributions, that we have to first fill the formulary energy contributions, heating and cooling, heating and domestic hot water, heating only, heating, cooling, and domestic hot water, primary air equipment, or pumping equipment. If I change SEF, I will select heating and cooling, but if I want just, for example, primary equipment, you see which will be the characteristic, but if I change it and I'm going with heating and cooling, that will change. So the features and the technical information will change. So in heating and cooling, we have to select one of these options, generator, the fuel type. That's very important to establish the fuel type of the installation, natural gas, for example. As you can see, there is a complete list of all the fuel types. And among of these installations we have, the demand, the heating demand surface and the cooling demand surface in square meters and in percentage of the total of the surface of the building. This number has to be less or maximum as the total surface from the building. We establish that's a 20%. The cooling area will be this, for example. And here is the information of the average performance. You have to establish the nominal power of the installation, the heating efficiency, and the cooling efficiency. And save it. Okay. I haven't told before, but you have here and here the elements that you have created. You can delete it, or you can go through them, modify and change it, just saving again. Domestic hot water is very similar to heating and ventilation. I won't create any one. Okay, here you have already the features that you have to fill up and the demand. Lightly, I will create fluorescence, for example. Okay, here we have the name I had created before, and the type. We have 3 types of lighting. I'm going with fluorescent. The demand surface in square meters again. The average performance, you have to define if you have lighting control or not. You have to establish installed power is the type of lighting that you have. It's not the total power, it's just the type of your lighting, and here it's the amount. So the total installed power will be the amount multiplied by the installed power. And if you have this information, you can fill it, but it's not obligatory. It's the horizontal average luminance, the lux. You can enter. Save. Okay. And finally, okay, here we have the lighting that we have created. We have other equipment. This other equipment, it's equipment that it's not included in the other types. So maybe the printers, the PCs, everything that it's not an installation by itself. So we have to establish here how many hours is working per week, this element that you have created. 20 hours per week, and how many of these elements you have. I have, okay, and I save it. Okay, when the expeditor has filled all the information that he has from the energy audit, the next step is building information clause. But you have to be sure that everything is filled correctly, because when you click to building information clause, you can then modify, use details, economic data, and building information. The tool will validate that and will close, and it will lock all these formularies. So it's a message that you have to be sure. And then the tool will close everything. Perfect. Action completed successfully. It's working everything as it has to work. So we cannot enter data from here, here, and here. Building information. It's here we have. Okay. We cannot add more surfaces, more facades. So till here, it's just introducing data that you have. Now we are going to saving measures. Here we have 2 menus, energy conservation measures and periodic report. In the first one is where we are now. As you can see, here's the type of measures that you have in the color that we explained it before. On the left, you have the simulation, so you can create as many simulations as you want. And when you finally chose the simulation that the expert and the SME agree to apply, you will apply this simulation, and we are going to periodic report. In periodic report is where the expert, during the follow-up from the application of the measure, will introduce the real data. So now I'm going to create a simulation. Yes. Simulation 1. As you can see, there's no measures till we create a simulation and we click on the simulation. We want to create just two, to be too extended. Two. I created. Okay, completed successfully. We're going to the first simulation. Okay, here are all the measures that the tool will provide the expert. Okay, if we had not all the measures we want, we can add a measure. That's the formulary to create a new measure, but you have to complete everything. Because we have, as I told in the first slide, we have made a relationship between the families of the measures and the SPEEDIER solution, the building information. So here you will have to choose between which one solution is your new measure related. Then, oh, sorry, let's keep. I'm going again because it has been okay. Then you have to select the type of measure, the cost of this measure, and the current consumption without the measure and with the measure, so we can calculate it, how will be the energy savings. Then here you have the different type of measures. The other ones that applies always. We can select this one. Then the facade measures, the heating, ventilation, and conditioning measures that applies to every installation you have created. The specific facade you have created. We try to fit in 16 doors and 20 meters. Okay. Then we're going to the heating and cooling. That's the installation we have created, the specific one we have created. And finally, the lighting, the fluorescence. So when we choose which measure we want to apply, we save it first, and then we apply these calculations. That's when the tool is working. It's trying to know how will be the savings and the cost of these measures. At the final, you have the total of the application of these measures, but we are going to this measure, for example, it's not cost, so the cost is 0. We have the energy estimated savings that it's for the square meter. You have to multiply that for the building surface, and finally the economical return. That it's a data that when more positive is, better is the inversion. And we have the other one. Here you are filing or releasing your existing windows, the same. The economical return, the cost of the measure, that's a lot of more than the other one that was 0. So we have, that's a very cost measure. And that's not a lot of energy estimate savings. So we can go another simulation. Okay, we have the same measures that we have applied before. As you can see, the other ones, facade, general facade, heating and ventilation general, a specific facade you have created. We chose this one. We can go to the lighting that we haven't gone before. Let's go to the lighting measures, for example. Here are the no-cost measures. We can regular cleaning of lightings, and we can try a high-cost one. This one, install skylighting. You have to specify the quantity of the skylight that you will install. And again, we have to save it, and we have to apply calculation. It takes a little bit because it calculates with all the project. And now we have to go to our measures. Here we are, we have the data. And finally, the lighting. Here, it's not 0 cost, so it's a great economical return. And install skylight. So when the SPEEDIER expert talked to the SMEs and has prepared this simulation and has selected which one is the one they want to apply. You have to select it as it's on black. So we have to apply simulation. As the same as before, when we apply simulation, this formulary will be locked. So we have to be very sure about what we are going to do. So we are going to apply simulation. Okay, that works perfectly. So now I cannot save, I cannot apply calculations, I cannot apply simulation again. So our simulation will be on green, as you can see, and we can start applying our measures. So the SPEEDIER expert will follow up that the SMEs will apply correctly the measures, will have the data, he will know how the energy savings and cost saving will be going. And here we have in our project our simulation and with the measures we have applied. Okay, we have now to follow up and report the real energy savings. Okay, as you can see, we have a period here. This period, call it 0. We can add another period. We can add as many periods as we want. Okay. We have established for each period an initial date, next week, and a final date. If we don't do that, the program will say that it has to be filled. We can do it in all the periods. For example, and the next one will be in January. Okay, so in each one, we have different fuels, bills that we can enter here the data. We have proposed electrical and gas oil, but you can change it. You can add another bill, anyone you want from the fuel types, or you can delete it, the fuel that we have here. So I'm going with enter data, for example, and this one. I'm going through all the periods so you can see how it's working. Okay, 15, and finally the last one, and this one. And we save it. Add is to add in a period, and save is to save the information we have below. Okay, has the period, how the periodic report works. We have the first period here, period 1, period 2, with all the information. Now it's only the cost information. You can change it to kilowatts. It's the information we have it below. The first one is the gas oil, the second one the electricity, and finally the total cost. And the total of all the periods we have entered in the data. So that's where the SPEEDIER expert will be following up all the information. The period that we want to establish, it have to be accorded with the SMEs. It's not fixed, so you can fix it or you can try it with the period you want. And that's how the SPEEDIER work till now works. We will prepare when we are developing a lot of more functionalities, which one of these will be that we will be create a copy of the final project. When you finally apply all the measures, and you will be at the end of the first year, for example, you can make a copy of the project information and again trying to do more simulations. So if with the relation between the expert and the SMEs will be 3 years ago, each year can be a different project related with the first one, and know how the savings will be. So that's all for the SPEEDIER tool. I'm going to log out. As you can see, it's here where you are the settings. And I will close my share screen. Just wait. Oh, okay. And I cannot. Okay. Thank you. So that's the SPEEDIER tool, how it's working. I know it's a lot of information in just 30 minutes, but if you try it, you will be that it's easy to use. It's not very complicated, and the main purpose of this tool is to assist the SPEEDIER expert and to try to communicate with the SMEs in a clear way. So I'm going to the brief summary. As I said before, it's not an audit tool. It has to be a good energy audit before to use the tool, and this tool has to help the auditor and have to be. That's the main purpose of our tool. We're improving and we are developing more things, but that's the main proposal. And the tool has to be used to be a communication between the auditor and the SMEs, because it's interactive. They can show how the simulation could improve the SMEs. Finally, as we said before, we have to be from the SPEEDIER expert a follow-up of the application, and be how the measures have produced savings or how they haven't. So the tool will learn that maybe the calculations are not theoretical calculations are not as precise as we want, and the tool will learn it and will change it. So our database will be modified during the time. So when more projects where we are, the database will be enriched, and the theoretical proposal will be more really data. So that's all. Let's go. I suppose there will be a lot of questions. Please write to us through the chat window. Now we are going to questions. If you want to go to www.menti.com, and today we have changed the code. You have to use this code for today. It's 1094762, or if you want, with your phone, you can scan this QR code. And we are going to the Menti now. Thank you. Okay, just to break in the ice, what country are you from? So we will know where you are from. Spain, a lot of them. Ireland, okay. Mostly Spain. Some in France. Perfect, welcome everyone. 3 main countries. Okay. EMEA, I don't know which one is that, but okay. Let's go to Romania, United Kingdom. Great, let's go. Can move on to the next. Okay, perfect. Sorry. Okay, let's go to the next one. What do you think is more important for a good energy audit? The first one, review project information. The second one, inventory and visit in situ. Third one, electric bill review. And finally, the fourth, economical cost measure. If you want to answer, please. It's very important for me to know how you think about that. So, okay, the first one is inventory and visit in situ. A lot of you have put this the first option. Economical cost measures, the second one. Okay, so I think the tool will cover these 2 points. Okay, oh, it's great. Thank you everyone for your answers. That's great. It's nice to know what you are thinking about that. Okay, thank you so much. We're going to the next one. Rate the SPEEDIER tool. I think maybe you will have to try it more time in the tool to know to have an opinion of that. But if you have tried, please answer or just think about what I have explained to you today. And I know we have to improve it, but we are very happy about how is the tool working. So, okay, thank you very much. Okay, it's good. Okay, can be improved. For sure, can be improved. That's because that beta version, we know that they have to be tested and the things that have to be improved. But we are very confident that we can change it. Very useful. That I'm proud of that because it's what we try. We try that the tool be easy to enter the data and to have obtained results from it. Thank you very much. I'm very, very happy with your answers. I will take that in consideration. And now I think that's the last one. Take your time, please, because it's very important for us. We want to know which improvement would you include in the SPEEDIER tool. I know most of you are experts in engineering, in energy audits, and we would like you to know which is your opinion of and how we can improve all the tool. So take your time, write everything you have on mind. We will recollect all your opinions and your thoughts about that, and we have to take in consideration in the next month when we have to develop and improve all the tool. Okay, user guide. Okay, it's a good one. Inclusion of weather data from different locations. Okay, we have to recollect that. This will be more difficult. Yeah, translating in the different language. Okay, it's not in a SPEEDIER project, this, but it's a good one. It's a good one. We have in Spanish, we have some data inside the database, but okay, more explanation text. Okay. Okay. I am ability to compare to other SMEs. Okay, mira, I want to explain ability to compare to other SMEs. We are, as I told you, we will develop the tool in the next month, and we are trying to develop another functionality that is called ranking, that we will use it to compare to other SMEs, and we can compare if they apply the same measures. We can know how have been their savings. So it's a functionality we are thinking about that. So better GUI, I don't know what GUI, guide maybe. Okay. I think there's a lot of opinion. Oh, not blocking, we have to talk about that, but because then we lose all the calculation we have made before. So we have to fix it. Okay. Thank you so much for your contribution to that. Guide, mira, that's, you are very, we are writing a guide that it's step-by-step instructions. It's not ready yet because, as you know, the project hasn't finished yet. Now it's 1 month about that the tool has been finished in the beta version. So we are writing it, and when we have it, I will talk to our partners and we will send it to you. So you can it will be more easy to go through the tool maybe. When you go one time, I think you will be fine to use it more times. So I think that's all. Thank you very much. I will take everything you said. Okay, now.
Thank you very much, Diana.
Thank you, Herman.
Your presentation has been great, and I think it has been a great effort to summarize everything you know about the SPEEDIER.
Yeah, and I know it's a lot of
45
information.
minutes.
I know that.
Yes, but as you said before, and this is something that is being done now, and you will improve it, and for sure you will take into account some of the excellent suggestions that the attendees have made. So I think this is a good starting point, because by the end of the project, the tool will be improved according to the comments provided and according to to the ideas that you are developing regarding this. In any case, my function here right now is to try to address some of the questions that have been made by the attendees. First of all, I would like to thank all of them by their suggestion of improvement of this tool. And going directly to some of them, there are several questions that I would like to address to you, Diana. First one is, for example, is it planned to implement other European climate zones regarding as you mentioned before, apart from the pilot countries that are Ireland, Portugal, Spain, and Romania? Portugal, sorry. Ireland. Sorry, if you could address a little bit on this.
Of the SPEEDIER project, because to recollect this data, it's not as easy as it seems, because not every country has this data available. So in the SPEEDIER project, in the SPEEDIER tool, at least at the end of the SPEEDIER project, we only include these pilot countries and the data from them. So, but I think it's worth it to think about in the future to include all the countries that we have that available. But I repeat, it's not easy to obtain this data. But I think it will be great. I think it will be great that will be in other language. I know that, but as I said, it's not the scope from the SPEEDIER project.
Definitely, but I think, as you said, this is a good point, because in the future we hope, and you hope for sure, that this could be improved and be used in other countries also. So I think it's a good comment in that sense. And
the tool is prepared to add this information in an easy way. So when we have it, it's not complicated to introduce that, because there's this information yet, so it's easy to include it, but it's not in this SPEEDIER project now.
But I think that's the main point, the one that you have already addressed. If the information is available, it wouldn't be very difficult to introduce into the tool, I guess, according to your comment. Is that true?
It's true, because the SPEEDIER database, where is inside the tool, they have tables to include that information, and the program has when the measures I apply has to know which table they have to go to apply this information. So it's just introducing data. It's not a problem. It's not a new functionality or a new requirement.
That's clear. There is another question or another suggestion, comment, I would define it, and it's regarding lighting. On the lighting, it would be better to have the bulbs per fitting and then the number of fittings, so that we have a running total of fittings for pricing. That is an example. So
sorry.
This is the difference, and it's a comment that it has been. Sorry, this is a comment that is related to one of the aspects detailed at the end of the Mentimeter regarding the number of luminaires and the number of bulbs per luminaire. That's the difference between bulb and luminaires. So taking into account all the different accessories, let's say. So could you develop a little bit on that, the difference regarding that?
I have read this commentary on the chat. I totally agree. We have made a simplification of this information now, but I think it will be better to develop it. I have made an energy audit, and as you say, I not just include the lighting, the luminaries, but also include the bulbs of each luminary with the installed power. So I think that will be a very good improvement. And I think, I don't know who has made that question or that comment, but if they still on with us the next few months, he will can see that we are applying that. So I take notice of this, and I think it's a very good improvement. So we will do it.
Thank you very much, Diana. That because of your,
I think it's. I know Coleman think.
You already know it's coming from Ireland. This
Coleman, I know.
Okay, so thank you very much for that comment, Colm. And there is another comment regarding the interest of using 3 decimals for many amounts. So I guess that it was, if this is too much, I guess, if I understood well.
Yes, they are sure. We can use the same decimals than in the savings, because the energy savings, as you can see in the measures, it's reduced by square meters from the surface of the building. So if we don't use 3 decimals, you will see maybe 0.01, and it's more specific if you add the other decimal. But
okay, that was just that was just a comment on that. So maybe
no,
I think you have.
We can try. I think it's not very complicated to change it and have different decimals for each data that we provide the measures.
Okay, thank you very much, Diana. There are other questions that I would like to address. And there is a question coming from Spain, from Rafael, thank you very much, from where the annual heating cooling hours come from. So I guess it's related to how have you implemented it. Yes.
Yeah. See, the annual heating and cooling heating hours is obtained by each country that has defined the climate zones. Here, it's from Spain, I think you said, Herman.
Yes, the technical code of building in that case, okay. No?
I can send him where we take the information from Spain, but it is a public information, and it's not made it by tech. It's real information. It's on available. So the annual heating hours they are used. They are calculated by the time that but the temperature, the external temperature that has been on each region. And as I explained it, I think before, we will use this because we have to know how many hours in each place we'll be running the heating and the cooling. So, as I said, it's not the same in Ireland. That I think it's almost zero cooling, but all the time they are using heating than in Spain. That on Sevilla, for example, they use more cooling than heating.
I thought I can tell you that is totally true in Sevilla. But you know, going back to the question in Ireland, you know, with climate change, we will see in the near future if this changes. Okay, there is another thing regarding the need of the interest rate of a loan for this tool. I could answer that, but I think it would be more appropriate if you address it.
Sorry, Herman, I can understand.
It's regarding the need of using the interest rate of a loan. When you were addressing interest rate.
Okay. Yeah, no, sorry. We use certified energy management calculations, and we have used the economical return. That it's a calculation that it's made using the cost, the energy savings using how much the fuel will cost, and then it's a table that we have established that the life from each installation will be 15 years, I think. All this will be explained on the guide, on the step-by-step instructions, because I think it's very important. And we use a table that it's related to the loan. So we have to know if there's a loan and if it is, which is the percentage of the rate, because the table it's about present worth value, and use this data. But I think economical return it's not an easy thing to explain, but I think it's better to go to the instruction step by step and there explain it better.
Thank you, Diana. And there is a question regarding that economical return, but as you have already addressed this, I think if you allow me, maybe this could be explained in further detail once the guide will be finished by the end of the project, I guess, because this, as you said, it has been improved and it will be improved. And then I guess by the project, we will have, you will have a guide where these things could be explained in further detail.
My propose is to less than this month and the next, I don't know, 1-2 months to have a beta version of the guide with the functionalities that are working now, and to the end of the project, have another one with all the new functionalities included. So it will be easy, because if we have the tool working now, I think it's better if you have a step-by-step instruction, a guide that they can follow. But it's easy to use, but the first time you have to know what are you doing. I know most of them you are experts energy auditing, but I think it's easy if you have a guide and you can manage it. And I don't know if we will include an example yet in this one, but yeah, but we have to include it, all the explanations about how is an economical return, how we use the annual heating hours, how we use the schedule, and how to apply the measures, for example. I think it will be useful. I say 2 months, but I can assure that. But I tried.
Okay.
Because we keep developing the tool meantime.
Okay. There is a comment that is very much related to the difference between luminaire and bulbs regarding the ballast in the case of a bulb that needs a ballast, but I think you have already addressed this, and this is something that you will take into consideration later on. And there is another final question, because we are nearly finishing this session. Is related to one of our attendees coming from outside Europe, and is regarding the future of the tool could be used in other countries like Pakistan to promote energy efficiency in these countries. So probably it's related to the weather data that could be used, but I don't know if and which is the future of the SPEEDIER tool, because the question also includes if this could be available on Play Store in the future.
In Play Store, no, it's not. It's not an app. It's
not an app.
No,
the
it's
app will be.
software.
Sorry, Diana. The app will be just for ATIF. The app will be detailed in the next section, but this is a tool that will not be introduced in Play Store. But please, Diana, address the question regarding the future of the SPEEDIER tool and if this could be used in other countries.
First question, it could be used in other countries, but as I said before, the climate zone will be only for pellet regions, but I don't know the climate from Pakistan. But if they can introduce the data directly. So if they know the data from the climate, they can use it. And if they know the rate between Pakistan prices and Spain prices, they can use it. It's not a problem. They have to work more, because they have to introduce data that the tool will provide if you are from one of the countries that we have on the tool. But it can use it. It's not a problem. The SPEEDIER tool in the future, we will go with the SPEEDIER project in the future. So we want to keep going, and we want that this system will work, so that there will be SPEEDIER experts, SPEEDIER trainers, so they can use it. But the tool will be working when the project will finish. The tool will work, so it will be an online tool that they can use. We have to establish what kind of relationship with Unitec we have the tool, but they can use it. Thank you so much for your questions.
Thank you very much. And Diana, I think there are more questions, but I think we will address them by email if you don't mind, Diana. It's some aspects that maybe
you will. Great for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for excellent.
I leave you with Joe, that will explain you the mobile app.
Exactly. We will hand over to them. Yes.
Thank you, Herman.
Thank you, Herman, and thank you, Diana, for that presentation on the SPEEDIER tool. I know we've had a lot of questions on the tool in the app, so I'd just like to reassure you, I know we haven't answered all of those questions today, but we will go through them all and answer by email. So after the session, we'll write down all the questions, write down all our answers, and send them round to the participants so that you can see the answers to those questions that we did not answer this morning already.
For sure. Sorry, I have closed my screen all the time. I haven't noticed. Sorry.
It's okay, no problem. So yes, just to reiterate, this is a beta version of the tool. It's a very early release because we wanted to get your feedback. We want to know what's important to you as energy experts who know what you're doing. So thank you so much for all your comments that you've made in the chat and also on Mentimeter. We will go through all of those and we'll try to include as many of them as we can as we go through the rest of the project. So we have a year left on the project, so we'll continue to develop the tool, as Diana said, and we'll be releasing more details about that. So thank you for those comments. So now we're going to move on to talk about the mobile application. So as you just heard, the tool for experts is a web-based tool. So you can log into that online through any browser at any time. What we're moving on to now is a mobile application. This is different. It's a different tool and it has a different purpose. So I'm going to talk you through the idea for the mobile app, and then my colleague is going to give you a live demonstration of how to use that. So the mobile app really comes from the idea that we were talking about yesterday of developing an energy culture within SMEs. So we talked about how important it is to develop that energy culture, and the mobile app will help that to happen because it's designed to be used by the staff members within the SME. So why a mobile app? Well, we were looking for ways that we could easily enhance the energy culture of a small business, and in a way that we could engage all the staff. So people are using their phones all the time, and we thought it would be a good way for them to learn about energy consumption in their business, but also to use it to receive their feedback and to gather their opinions and ideas about how energy could be managed more effectively in their organizations. We wanted to try and use a gamification approach. So we're trying to turn the app into a kind of a game where the users can earn points for every interaction that they have with the app. And we wanted to use it to provide information to those general staff members in the businesses. So whereas normally what you would do is run a training session and maybe you would have to take people away from their day-to-day activities in the business if you wanted to train them on energy saving measures. By using an app, what we can do is provide them with information that they can see in their own time whenever they have some time in an easy to view, easy to use format. So we have these reasons for developing a mobile app. Mostly it's to develop that energy culture and to assist the SPEEDIER expert to give something to the SME that helps them to develop their own energy culture through this gamification approach. So the main features of the app that my colleague will talk you through in a second, we have a feedback section. Now, the idea with this is that we were trying to think of reasons why would someone go onto the app? Why would they use the app in the first place? And what we came to was the idea that people often will take an action if they have something to say or if they have something to perhaps complain about or some feedback to give. So, for example, the feedback section allows staff members to give feedback to the SPEEDIER expert about their comfort in their place of work. So they can say, I'm too hot, or I'm too cold, or it's drafty, or they can express some opinion about the location in which they work. And we felt that that would be a good motivation for them to go onto the app to be able to give that feedback, where they may not feel able to approach someone to make that observation. They can do it on the app very easily. We also realised that often people who work in the business have the best knowledge of potential sources of energy savings. They're in the building every day. They see what happens on a regular basis. They observe the workflow and the working patterns, and they probably have a number of ideas that they could contribute towards taking energy saving actions, and they have no way of making those ideas known. So again, the app has a suggestions feature that allows them to suggest a way that they can save energy in the workplace. The app also has a quiz section. This is to help those staff members to learn about energy through a game. So there's a section on the app where the administrator, which could be the SPEEDIER expert or the SPEEDIER champion, can upload data or a presentation or a short article or some information that they would like their staff members to know and to read about. What they can also do is set up some quiz questions so that after the staff member has read the information, they can go through and see how much they've learned. So it's a way for the SPEEDIER expert or the SPEEDIER champion to check what's the level of awareness of the general staff members of energy and energy management and energy efficiency in their organisation. And for the staff member, it's a way for them to learn in a fun way. For every interaction with the app, we've also allowed the app to give rewards. In this case, the reward is some points. So you earn a reward for participating. This is a way that we are trying to ensure that the users continue to use the app on an ongoing basis, because every time they use it, they can score points. And all of this can help the SME to develop their energy culture. So by engaging with lots of staff members, getting them thinking about energy and talking about energy, it's one way to develop the energy culture. But why are we using this gamification approach? Well, one reason is that it's engaging. So we've given people lots of reasons why they might want to open the app and use it. That's the first thing. The second reason is that the peer connection with your workmates, with the people that you spend time with every day, that can be a really powerful tool to persuade people to take action and change their opinion. The idea of social proof, it's a very well-known concept in social sciences that we are social beings. We look at what other people are doing and we change our actions accordingly. So if you go onto the app and you see that lots of your colleagues have already answered a quiz, you're more likely to click through and also answer the quiz. If you see that your colleagues have made suggestions, you're also more likely to make suggestions. So we're using that social element to try and persuade people to change their actions. We're trying to make the app empowering, so people can give feedback and give suggestions. And this uses the idea that when people feel that they're being listened to and that their ideas are being taken seriously, they take more action themselves. So it's giving them that opportunity to make a difference, and they're rewarded. So you heard from Porrig yesterday in yesterday's session when we talked about energy culture, we talked about the importance of rewarding people for their actions. The app gives you an instant reward because every time you use it, you earn some points. And it also allows the SPEEDIER expert or the SPEEDIER champion to learn more, to gather information from the staff members about potential problem areas, and then to use it to inform their recommendations and to make suggestions. And the final one there is that users can learn about energy as they use the app. So you'll see that there are sections for uploading information, but also to share information about energy consumption with those staff members. So that's a little introduction to the app and why we chose to develop the app in the way that we did. I'm going to hand over to my colleague Ruchi. Ruchi's been leading on the app development from the technical perspective, so she's going to give you a live demonstration. So I'll hand over to Ruchi.
Hello everyone, I'm Ruchi Agarwal. I work with International Energy Research Center with Joe Southernwood. So I'm here to give you a brief demonstration about the app. So I will quickly go through some features of the app, like Joe has already mentioned about this thing. So this app will be used as a capacity building tool for SMEs, where they can build their energy culture and develop some behavioral changes for the employees. and there will be a web version and mobile version of the app. And at the moment, web version of the app is ready, while the mobile version of the app is under progress. And there will be an admin and user account for the app. Admin account will be managed by either SPEEDIER expert or SPEEDIER champion of a particular organization, and user accounts will be for all the employees of the organization. Basically, admin will be responsible to manage uh, all the user accounts and different all and other features of the app. And one of the important feature is energy monitoring, where user and admin can see different energy related information of their organization, like energy cost, energy consumption, various types of fuel being used, and what are the energy consuming equipments within their organization. So and in order to avoid the rework of admin, all this information will be fetched from SPEEDIER energy auditing tool, about which you have heard from Diana in the earlier session. And to encourage, and finally to encourage the user interaction with the app, some gamification features like feedback, suggestion, quizzes, and rewards have been introduced in the app. So we will go through each of them now. So I'll share my screen. So this is the basic welcome login page of the app. So first we will go through the user account. This is the basic dashboard for a user account. Here on the left hand side, you can see various features for the user, and we will go through them one by one. So first we'll go to the feedback. As already mentioned by Joe, like feedback is a feature where user can provide their input to the admin about thermal comfort or of any particular location of their building. So here you can see a user can see various feedback provided by themselves, and if a user wants to add a new feedback, they can click on this add new feedback tab. For example, if user wants to say that a particular room, let's say room 1 is too hot, and they can enter their feedback, and if they have any other feedback apart from the list, they can add the details of that feedback. So let's example we take it's a room 1 is too hot, and if a user wants, they can add more information about any particular feedback, like if he wants to suggest reduce HVAC set temperature, it will be helpful for admin to take action on the feedback. And finally, if a user can opt out, or user can choose to share their profile information with the admin, and this feature allows admin to further contact the user in terms of any feedback and for the rewarding purpose as well. So after completing all this information, user can submit this feedback, and the feedback is now submitted to the admin. Now we'll go to the next section, suggestion. So here a user can provide different various energy saving suggestions which they think that could be applicable to their organization. So here you can see a user can see a list of all the suggestion provided by them, and if in order to add a new suggestion, user can add a new suggestion here, like if a user wants to say turn off lights in the canteen, and here in the category section, user it's not user to enter, but if user wants to enter, it could be either a general energy saving suggestion, or if it is related to lighting, lights user can enter, and user can give more information like after office hours lights for 2 hours. So user can provide more information to the admin, and similarly here user can choose or opt out to share their identification with the admin. So this now this suggestion has been submitted to the has been received by the admin. So next we'll go to the energy management feature. Here energy management feature has been divided into 3 sections. The first one is building, where user can see all the energy related building all the energy related information of their building, whether it could be like building energy rating and energy performance indexes. Here, like if a user doesn't know what this building energy rating and energy performance index is, user can go through this information icon. And the next is energy use. Here a user can see list of all the energy types of fuel being used in their organization, along with their annual energy consumption and annual cost. And there is a facility where user can see this data in more detail. So if a user wants to see monthly electricity consumption, maybe let's say for example from September 2019 to, let's say, August 2020, September 2020, then user can select a date range, and there are various types of data in which user can see this data. Like user can see in the either in the form of table, or user can see in the form of pie chart. And here there's one more feature where user can download this pie chart either in the form of image or in the data, or user can directly print this pie chart. And lastly, there is a line graph. User can see this monthly energy consumption in the line graph format, and again here user can download this information, this line graph. So this is about energy use. As I already mentioned, all these data will be fetched from SPEEDIER energy auditing tool, so no need to rework for admin. And the last is equipment section, where user can see list of various energy consuming equipment, along with quantity, power rating, and type of fuel or energy being used to run that particular equipment. And the last one is energy conservation measure, ECM list, where user can see probable energy saving measures that could be implemented in their organization, along with cost category and status of the implementation. So all this information basically will help a user which is not very much familiar with the energy consumption of their organization. So this app will help them to at least know about the various elements of energy management of their organization. So this is about energy management. And next we'll go to the quiz section. Here the quiz section is again divided into take quiz and learning section. In the take quiz section, like this quiz can be different for different organization. This section is entirely managed by admin of the organization. And like your general quiz, equipment quiz, home energy quiz, there could be any category of the quiz. And like if in the general quiz, again there are various rounds of the quiz where user can take a quiz. So this is just an example of a quiz where user can submit their options, and they can go to the next questions and so on. So this is like there could be different rounds and different categories of the quiz. And here in the best score and leaderboard section, user can see best score and their position in the leaderboard of the organization for each category of the quiz. And in the quiz history, user can see their own activities in the quiz. And the last one and very important one is learning section. Again, this section is entirely managed by the admin of the organization. This could be different for different organization. Here user can download and view these learning documents, and these documents could be according to their organization's energy building, like their strategy on how they want to build energy culture and behavioral change in their organization. And basically all this here in the quiz section will be from the learning materials. This could be anything from PDFs to presentation or Word document. So this is all about quiz. And now we'll go to the notifications. Here user will see various notifications shared by the admin, and uh, for a suggestion adds a new learning material, user will get a notification about that. And for every suggestion user will get a reward, so there could be a reward notification for this. And upon clicking on this each notification, this will guide us to the respective page. So if example a user has received a reward, so this will again take us to the reward page. Here you can see various rewards earned by a particular user, and this reward could be entirely different for different organization. This points, like for example a particular organization can give 5 points for a suggestion, or the other organization could give 10 points, or it could be different, like a particular organization can introduce a certificate for best suggestions, anything. It depends entirely on the organization. So here on the after clicking on the feedback reward, user can see reward for various feedbacks provided by themselves. And in order to encourage user to make their accounts as a user, so here the sign up rewards can be introduced. There could be different badges, there could be different certificates. So this is all about the reward section. And finally, in the my profile section, here user can see their profile information, and user can edit some of the profile information if they want. So this is all about the user account. Now we will log in through the admin account. We'll see how different features and how admin account works. So here you can see this is again a welcome dashboard for the admin account. And here in the similar to the user account, on the left hand side you can see various features for the admin. So here if you can notice, admin has received a notification for the feedback we have just now we have entered. So admin can see list of all the feedback provided by the a user, and based on their own experience and their own knowledge, admin can take any action take action on the each feedback. And initially each feedback will be open, and if admin can change the status of the feedback for their own tracking. If admin is taking any action on feedback, admin can change it to in progress, and the action has been taken, then admin can close the status of the feedback. So this is all about feedback. Now we'll go to the manage suggestion. Here admin will see list of all the suggestions received by the from the user. So one of the important gamification feature for is suggestion is like here admin can publish a list of suggestion on monthly basis for the voting to the users. And what admin has to do is admin have to rate each suggestion based on their own knowledge and experience, and admin can publish this voting table on monthly basis. So this table has been already published for this month. So after publishing this table for the voting, user will get a notification where user can provide rating for each suggestion, and based on user rating and admin rating, admin can select a particular winner for the month, and maybe they can provide some extra reward points or a certificate, or they can uh, they can uh, they can like in a monthly meeting, or they can recognize that user in a particular manner. So this is the suggestion feature. So next we'll go to the notification feature. Here you can see admin has received a notification about suggestion and feedback. We have just now provided about this. And one more feature here is like create a notification. Like if admin wants to share a particular piece of information with the users or with the employees of the organization, admin can make a particular notification, like it's a reminder. Admin can send a reminder to user that turn off your desktop before leaving office, and admin can decide the audience of the notification, and notification is sent now to all the users. Next is manage energy. This feature is very much similar to what I have earlier explained for the user account, except admin has privilege to edit, delete, or add a piece of information. So in order to edit, admin can click on this edit button, and if they want, they can edit any piece of information. And in order to add a new building information, admin can add all the information here, and they can save the building. Now the next is energy use. So here it's again same thing, like here admin cannot change anything. Admin can choose the fuel, and again the date range and different types of chart, and admin can see and download these data. So I'm not going to again go through this because it's the same. And now in the last one is equipment, where admin can see list of equipment and list of energy conservation measures. And admin can, if for example, if they have introduced 2 more LEDs in the walkway, so admin can change the and make it 10 LEDs. And if they have uninstalled the boiler, so admin can delete this boiler. And for example, if they have added a new equipment, they have installed a new equipment, admin can add a new equipment for their organization. And similarly, in the ECM list, energy conservation measure list, admin can see uh, already having the energy conservation measures in the list. And again, admin can edit, delete, or add a new energy conservation measures that they think they could have that could be implemented in their organization. And it could be anyone from received from the suggestion section. So this is all about energy management for the admin. So next is manage quizzes. Here admin can add a new question or a new quiz. Like here admin can define the rounds of the quiz. Admin can edit or delete a particular round of quiz. Like here admin can add a new round of quiz. And similarly, admin can add a new questions in a particular round. So this quiz is entirely managed by admin. and admin can see best score of their organization for the rewarding purpose. And in the learning section, again, admin can edit, admin can delete any document, and admin can add a document. And this could be image, spreadsheet, any URL or any document, and admin can define the category of the learning material, and admin can upload the document, and the user will get a notification about new availability of new learning documents. So this is basically all this information and all this data will be managed by admin, and to encourage users to build their energy culture and build their energy acumen. And the next is manage user. Here admin can see list of all the user account for in their organization. Admin can edit a piece of information for a particular user, and if a user leaves the organization, admin can delete the user account. And if there is a new employee for the user in the organization, admin can add a new user account for the new user account for the employee. And after adding a new user account, the user will get email notification, and after for the verification, and after verification, user can start using their account for the first time. And the next is manage badges. Here you can see various badges available in the app, and admin can edit, introduce, or delete a new type of badge or a new type of trophy for the organization. Like here, it can be, for example, a badge for round 3 of quiz. A trophy type could be like it could be a badge. Admin can choose various badges available. And for example, if a user needs 500 points to achieve this badge, and user can say, admin can say well done for a particular. So this is how admin can introduce a new badge in order to encourage users. And finally, the my profile section is again very much similar to what I have earlier told you in a user account, where admin can see particular profile particulars for their account, and admin can edit some of the information for their account. So this is from my side. This is all about user and admin account for the app. Thank you so much for your attention. Now I would like to go to give this floor back to Joe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruchi. Great presentation. Yes, so if you have any questions, please write to us through the chat window, and we will come to those at the end of this session. Before we get to your questions, we have one final session to talk through. This is around impact assessment, and then at the end of this session, we'll have some questions for you about the app and the SPEEDIER service through Mentimeter, and then we'll answer your questions about the SPEEDIER app and anything general that you've heard over the last couple of days. So we are going to move to the impact section. I just wanted to talk through briefly the overall goals for the SPEEDIER project as a whole. So as I mentioned yesterday, we're a Horizon 2020 funded project that's lasting 2.5 years, and we are halfway through. Our objectives right from the start were to help to encourage small and medium-sized enterprises to take up energy audits and then to implement the resulting energy conservation measures. So that's really about implementing Article 8 of the Energy Efficiency Directive. We wanted to demonstrate the effectiveness of the self-financing mechanism as an idea, as a concept that we came up with. This is the idea that you implement your energy conservation measures in stages, starting from the zero cost measures. You ring fence the savings from those zero cost measures and then reinvest them into further measures. This is aiming to remove the financial barrier to investment. We wanted to enhance the energy culture of SMEs, and we've talked about how the SPEEDIER expert can assist the SME to do that through a SPEEDIER champion, and you've just heard about the mobile application this morning. And we want to demonstrate some of the tools that we've developed. So the SPEEDIER tool for experts that you heard about this morning from Diana, the mobile application that you've just heard about from Ruchi, and the service-based approach that we talked about yesterday. So we want to test them in different markets, see if they work, gather feedback from yourselves as experts and also from the SMEs about how useful is this approach? Does it work? Are there situations in which it does not work? And why? What are the reasons behind those initiatives? And we want to finally increase the skills of key market stakeholders, both at the energy expert level and also at the SME level. So those are our main goals for the project. And we also set ourselves some targets at the start of the project. We calculated what we expect the impact of the SPEEDIER project to be over its 2.5-year duration and beyond the end of the project. So on the screen now you can see our targets. We anticipate that we will engage with 110 SMEs over the 4 pilot regions in the course of the project. I have to admit this is a bigger challenge than we expected it to be because of the coronavirus pandemic. It's made it very difficult to engage with businesses, as I'm sure you can appreciate. But our initial expectations are that we would engage with those 110 businesses. We would save, we would make primary energy savings and carbon savings, and we would trigger investment from the private sector into energy efficiency measures. That investment to be leveraged is the ring-fenced savings that we're talking about coming from the SMEs. Overall, we hope to train around 650 staff members and 50 SPEEDIER experts. So that's the purpose of this workshop that's been running yesterday and today. We're beginning that process of training up SPEEDIER experts in order to build capacity to reach more SMEs. So to hit our target of 110 and ideally to go beyond that after the SPEEDIER project closes, so that we can continue using this service. And finally, it is a research project, and so we are using our research results as a means to provide evidence for member states who are perhaps looking for ways that can help them to achieve their objectives under Article 8 of the Energy Efficiency Directive, and to feedback to policymakers at European level to show them which elements of these ideas work, in which situations do they work, and which ones perhaps don't yet work and need further investigation. So engaging with us at the SPEEDIER project can have an impact at the policy level also. So as I mentioned yesterday, we are currently at the end of phase 1. We have been testing some of these ideas and developing our tools. We are now delivering workshops to disseminate our ideas to yourselves as SPEEDIER experts and potentially SPEEDIER trainers. The next stage is to work with those that are interested, those potential SPEEDIER experts and trainers, to help you to deliver these ideas in your own businesses and in your own organisations. So we're about to enter phase 2. And what we'd like to do is test these now in the market. So that's why we're running these sessions, because we want to tell you about these ideas, invite your feedback, and invite you to try out some of these ideas in your own organisations and feed back to us what you think, what's been successful and what hasn't. So ideally, we'd like this to be the start of a relationship with you. We will be in touch after the training session. And we'd like you to work with us if you like to try the service-based approach with your clients. So yesterday we talked about the idea of switching from a product-based service where you just offer an audit and then walk away to a more service-based approach where you develop a relationship with the small business and try to assist them not only with identifying opportunities, but through the implementation phase, through the monitoring an evaluation phase, and through the investment phase. So we'd like to work with you to do that. We've been trying some of these approaches, and our partners are ready to assist and advise if you wanted to try some of these ideas in your own business. We'd like you to try offering the self-financing and the ring-fencing model, ring-fence and reinvest, with your clients. Now, as we talked through yesterday, there are many ways that this can be done, but we'd like to test the idea of sharing savings, and testing the idea that some of the remuneration for the SPEEDIER expert is dependent on the level of saving that's achieved. Now, that's very different depending on your own attitude to risk and your own preferences and the preferences of the SME. So it's perfectly fine to take a flexible approach. Maybe with some clients you're happy to take a shared savings approach, and for others a traditional approach might be more appropriate. That's fine. We'd just like you to consider it and let us know if it's worked for you, if it's led to more clients signing up, or if it just doesn't work in some situations. We'd like you to test the SPEEDIER tool for experts. So this is the tool that Diana has presented to you this morning. As we mentioned, you are able to register to use that tool and use it via a web browser now. You have those links available to you now. So please do register, try it out, give us feedback. Be aware that it is a beta version, because this is a research project and it is still being developed. So it's not a perfect, commercial version that is available, and of course, as Diana mentioned, we will be developing it further. But we'd like your feedback. We'd like to know what's useful and how it could be more useful in future. In terms of the mobile application, you've just heard about it this morning. We are in the final phase of testing and developing that. So as Ruchi mentioned, you could test it online through any web browser, and as soon as it's ready for public use, we'll make that available to you. And our next step is to write the code for the mobile applications so that it becomes available in the Apple Store and the Play Store. That will take us a little bit longer, but it is coming. So again, if you have a chance to test it and give us your feedback on those items, that would be great. And finally, if you do try out any of these solutions, we'd like you to try to measure the impact of your actions. Now, many of you on the line will be energy experts. You will have done audits before, so I'm not going to tell you how to do that. I'm sure you all know how to measure the baselines, how to measure the energy savings that are achieved, and to record the investments, CO2 emissions, and so on. But we have our own internal targets, and so we have a spreadsheet available that we are using to track these impacts. So it could be simple things like counting the number of SMEs that have been involved in this kind of approach. If you're willing to, we'd love for you to share some anonymized data with us. We don't need any details about your clients. We just need things like the number of SMEs, the sector, and the energy savings that were achieved, so that we can start to measure the impact of the SPEEDIER project as a whole in terms of how many people we've reached. And we can share a spreadsheet with you for recording that data. So what are the benefits for you? We've asked for a lot just then. I've asked for things that we'd like from you. What do you get from it? Well, what we plan to do is to list any SPEEDIER experts that want to be listed on our SPEEDIER project website. So this gives you a bit of exposure. It tells people that you are working with us on the SPEEDIER project. You're working with us to test these ideas. Our website currently displays information about the project. We are going to relaunch that website so that it's tailored towards SMEs that arrive on the website can find SPEEDIER experts, and SPEEDIER experts who arrive on the website can find SMEs. So our website, the look of our website will change shortly, but we are actively trying to engage with SMEs all the time. So if we talk to SMEs and they're looking for these services, and we as a project team don't have the capacity to work with them, we're very happy to refer them onto SPEEDIER experts that are listed on our website. We may sometimes have inquiries from SMEs who are outside of our pilot regions in another country, for example, and if there's a SPEEDIER expert located in that country, we're very happy to put you in touch with them. If you do want to try any of the ideas that we've talked about over the last 2 days, we can provide you with support to help you to implement those services. So if you have questions or you're not quite sure about the approach or what's the best method to take, we can support you. We have 10 project partners with lots of different expertise in lots of different areas. So if you have questions, we'll support you through that implementation process. As I mentioned, we'll give you access to all of the tools that we developed and all of the training materials free of charge. They'll be available for you on our website. And I should say that we are developing more materials all the time. So this will change. It's not a static website. We will continue to upload resources as they become available. And what we'd like to do is showcase some of your success stories as case studies on our website. So if you have tried one of our ideas and it's worked for you, we'd love to know about it. We'd love to put it on our website as a case study to showcase the SPEEDIER project, but also your own services. So it can be a way for you to increase visibility for yourselves as well. If you're here from an energy agency or a body that represents small businesses or professional body, you might be interested in becoming a SPEEDIER trainer. So I mentioned yesterday that the idea of SPEEDIER trainers is that we're looking for multiplier organizations who can help us to reach more SMEs or help us to reach more SPEEDIER experts. So we can assist you to train additional SPEEDIER experts. If you wanted to promote this service, if you wanted to engage with auditors who are going to use these ideas, we can assist you to provide training to them. And we can work with you to develop a solution that's tailored to the particular service or the particular location that's relevant to your members. So if you're in another country and you think that some elements of SPEEDIER will work but not others, we can tailor that approach for you to those sectors or locations. And the case studies that I mentioned earlier can be used as evidence to help you to drive any policy change or persuade people to change their approaches in your particular section or location. You'll be able to contribute and show policymakers in your region how they might be able to meet their obligations under Article 8 of the Energy Efficiency Directive. And for many organisations, it might be the opportunity, there might be an opportunity to add value for your clients through the ability to offer an alternative business model. So it's again thinking about, well, can we move away from this traditional approach to a more service-based approach, and does that add value to your clients through your own value chain? So what happens next? After the training today, we'll be in touch with you for some feedback about the training session itself, but also on some of the ideas that we've presented. So we will be in touch again. You will be hearing from us. Of course, you can opt out at any time if you don't want to hear from us anymore. That's no problem. We'll contact you to ask if you'd like to be listed on our website in our register of SPEEDIER experts and our register of SPEEDIER trainers. That's totally optional. It's up to you if you want to do that or not. You'll receive a certificate of attendance today to show that you've attended the training, to show that you're able to deliver the SPEEDIER service. Yeah, please test the tools that we've developed and let us know your feedback. As I mentioned, we'll be in touch every now and then to let you know when we have new resources available. So when you're able to test the mobile app, when it goes live on the App Store, we'll let you know. And do feel free to contact us anytime for more information. You can contact us via our general website, info@speedierproject.eu. We'll put all the details online. I'll also send my contact details so you can email me directly if you have particular questions, and I can direct those to the right member of our team to help you. So that brings us to the end of the presentations. We're going to move to questions now. So if you do have questions, you can continue to write to us in the chat window and we'll get through as many of those as we can now. In the meantime, while you're thinking of your questions, we'd like to direct you back to the Mentimeter website. So please go to menti.com, and when you get there, enter the code that's on the screen now, or you can just scan the QR code with your phone and it will take you directly to the page. So the code is 1094762. Code is also in the chat now. So I believe we're going to go to the Menti website. Great. So the first question is, how useful do you think the SPEEDIER mobile app will be as a method of improving energy culture in SMEs? So this is useful to us because we've designed this, with our own thinking and our own ideas, but we haven't really shared this outside the project team so far. So it would be really interesting to hear if the people who are with us this morning consider it to be a useful method. Will it improve energy culture? Is it too complicated? Perhaps you think people won't use it. Perhaps you think that they won't download such an app on their phone. We'd like to hear from you. So please do vote. I see they're coming in now. So that's good to hear. So far, mostly people are saying it seems fairly useful. Which is good to know. I know that there are some improvements to be made, and we have some ideas around that. So we'll take all of the comments into consideration. Okay, that's really useful feedback. Thank you for doing that. So fairly positive response. That's good to know. Of course, yes, I realise that the app isn't going to be applicable in every business. Perhaps it's more useful in some businesses than others. Great, thank you for your feedback. I think we'll move on to the next question. So do you have any suggestions to improve the SPEEDIER mobile app? So I think you can take your time to write something in the text box and send it through. As I mentioned before, we are really interested to hear your ideas. This is a beta version of the app, so we are still developing it. We will release it for further testing soon. So we've got some suggestions coming in to simplify, reduce the buttons and options. Yes, good point. I think you're right that the user interface could be improved. Great suggestions. Okay, seems to be a common theme. So yeah, user receiving feedback. Yeah, that's a good idea. I hadn't considered that before. Okay, so it seems to be a theme here that it's perhaps a bit too complicated at the moment. Maybe it needs to be more simple. So yes, for sure, we can look at that in our next version. There's a lot in it. Yes, there is a lot in it. There are many features, and again, we're interested to see which of those features are the most useful. We're testing. If it turns out that actually some of it's not useful at all, we can remove it in later versions of the app. Yeah, the app should be open for all countries. Yes, it will be open for all countries. I should say that the development language is English. It's being developed in English because that's the language of the project. But of course, yes, we in the future may wish to consider versions in other languages as well, so that it's in the local language of the country where it's being used. That's great. Thank you very much for your feedback. Lots of ideas there. We'll definitely go through all of those. So thank you for that. We're going to move on to the next question. Which of the elements of SPEEDIER will you consider trying with your clients? So this is about all the different elements that we've talked about over the 2 days. So we talked about changing from a product-based to a service-based approach. We talked about the self-financing mechanism. You heard about the tool for SPEEDIER experts this morning and the SPEEDIER mobile app this morning. And we talked about payments being linked to performance so that it's possible for the energy expert to have a larger remuneration the greater the savings that they identify for the SME. So I know that perhaps some of you were not online yesterday when we talked about energy culture and we talked about self-financing. So no problem. As I mentioned before, the video recording from yesterday's session will be online in a few days' time for you to review that if you're interested in those concepts and those ideas. So thanks for your answers. This is a really interesting set of answers here. So lots of you have said you'll use the SPEEDIER tool for experts. That's fantastic news. I'm very pleased to hear that. So yeah, please use it and let us know what you think, how it can be improved. Thanks very much for your answers. That's really useful. And as I mentioned, we'd like to stay in touch with you. So please tell us, would you like any more information about any of the concepts that we've discussed during the event? So you can just type in the app, I think, is it a text-based question? I hope it's a text-based question. You can type any of the ideas that you might like more information about either here, or you can type in the chat, or you can email us after the session. Any way is fine. Great, so we've got some yeses coming through. Excellent. I'm glad to hear that you're interested in these concepts. So we'll, as I mentioned, we'll collate all the questions that we received. We will make a document with all of the answers to those questions. We'll send you some links to anything that's relevant in terms of background information, links to the information on our website. As soon as we have a user guide for the tool, we will send that through. So one of the questions here, will there be funding from SPEEDIER for the experts? So the SPEEDIER project doesn't have funding to give to SPEEDIER expert directly. What we have is that our time is covered. So if you need assistance from the project team to help to implement some of these ideas, we can assist you. And within the duration of the project, that won't cost you anything. There's no cost to it. It's all free of charge support that we can provide. So I hope that answers that question. Great, thank you very much for your comments. I'm very happy to hear that you've been interested in what we're saying and that you'd like us to send on more information. So yeah, now is the time to answer your questions. As I mentioned, if you have questions about the SPEEDIER mobile app or about the impact assessment, or indeed about anything that we've talked about this morning or even yesterday, then please do let us know and we'll go through them now. Herman, I don't know if you have collated any of the questions from the chat.
Herman is having some problems with their microphone, so I can ask you the question that we gathered through the chat.
Perfect.
Okay, so the first question from Spain, it's do users receive feedback notification when their administration changes the status of a suggestion? For example, from open to in progress.
Yes, I believe they do receive a notification. So the notifications work both ways. The admin gets a notification when the user takes an action, and the other way around, the user will receive a notification when the admin changes the status of the feedback that they've given. So they will know, yes.
Thank you, Jo. So the next question from Ireland. It says, how will staff take to getting desktop screen shutdown message on their personal phones?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. And I suppose the answer, for one thing, the desktop shutdown notification is just an example that we use for the training. It's entirely up to the SPEEDIER expert and the SPEEDIER champion who are administering the account to decide which notifications are acceptable, which notifications are suitable for their business and the staff members in that business. So they don't have to use this feature. They can choose to use it or not as they wish. In terms of having that notification on a personal phone, it's a personal choice whether someone downloads the app or not. So they can, we're suggesting that they use the app as a convenient form of interacting with us and with the information that's presented. But if they don't want to use the app, they could use the web version. It's just that we felt it's less likely that they would actually log in to the web version in order to check for updates, compared to if you have the app on your phone and you receive a notification, you're probably going to engage with it more frequently. Having said that, the user is also able to turn off notifications, I believe, if they want to, so they don't have to receive every notification in the same way that in many apps on your phone you can choose which notifications to receive and which you find annoying and you want to turn off. The user has control of that, so there'll be options to turn off those notifications if you don't want to receive them. I guess the other element to this is that in some businesses, particularly in perhaps larger organizations, staff might have a work-based mobile phone as well as their personal one. So they could perhaps choose to only download the app onto their work phone rather than their personal phone. So I think there's a few ways around it, but yes, we do need to be sensitive that individuals may choose to download an app on their personal phone, and we need to be mindful that the notifications are appropriate for those situations.
Sorry, Joe, I had a problem with the connection.
No problem.
There are more questions, but first of all, I would like to thank you and Ruchi, because your presentations have been excellent, and I think it has been clear for the attendees the concept of the SPEEDIER project. And although it was very good, the remarks you said regarding the training materials that will be uploaded in the website that is dynamic, as you said before. Going back to your questions, I would like to ask a question regarding what is next for the app in terms of launch and testing, because how people would be available this app, and which are the next steps, let's say.
Yep. Okay. So right now the app is available as a web version, so we can send you a link to a version via a browser to use. What we would like to do is test this next with some SMEs. So we're working on the Apple version and the Android version of the app. As soon as they're ready, we'd like to then test those with some sample SMEs in each country, so that we can gather their feedback on which elements are the most useful, which are confusing, which do we need to remove, and then it will be available for general release for others to use also and to test in their own organizations. The app takes a little bit of setup in that we need to set up a company account, an administrator account for each company, so that the user accounts are linked only to that company, because we don't want any user from any company to see any data about any others. So from our end, there is some setup to do to make sure that users are allocated to a company, and then they only see that information that's relevant to that company. That happens our end. So I'd say that if you want to try this out with a particular SME, to get in touch with us. so that we can set that up. And of course, you have control over which users you allow. So you won't have random people logging in and seeing all the information, because the administrator account has control over which users are allowed to see that information.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Joe. Another question is related to if there are any plans to integrate to modeling software such as ISPEM, that I don't know, but it's from Ireland. Do you know if there are any plans regarding this?
It's a difficult question. So yes, so for some of them, there are various different modeling tools out there. And I agree that functionality would be useful to be able to integrate with modeling software, so that it can be imported into the SPEEDIER tool to avoid entering the data twice. For sure, that would be a useful feature. What I would say is that it's outside of the scope of the SPEEDIER project for the time being. I'm sure you understand that we have been given a particular budget to test particular features, and unfortunately connecting it to other software is outside of the scope. However, what we are doing is building the tools and the mobile applications with interoperability in mind. So the idea is that the tool and the app are developed in such a way that they can be linked to other software tools in the future. It's just that we're not able to do that within our project timeframes because of the budget and the time constraints that we're under. But certainly it's possible to do that. It would probably be a development that happens beyond the end of the SPEEDIER project, potentially as part of another project, as a follow-on.
Thank you very much. Very reasonable. Very good. There is another question. In that case, related also, can the data entry be automated so that the administrator could save time by updating the information in order to make this more automatic, let's say?
Yeah, so we have tried to do this between experts and the mobile app. So it's possible to export data from the SPEEDIER tool and import it into the mobile app, so that the administrator for the mobile app doesn't have to re-enter data. That's something that we're working on at the moment and trying to make that available in reality. And it links very much to the previous question about linking to other tools. It's definitely a great idea and would absolutely save time. It may just be outside of the scope of this project to incorporate that in this version. I don't know if Diana, if you're on the line, if you would have any anything further to add to that, or have I covered it?
Hello again. No, I'm agree with you. We are working now in how we can extract information from the tool, and that will be recollected by the application. Joe knows that we are working on that, but to link it with another energetic tools that will be on the market will be complicated in the scope of the SPEEDIER project. But the tool has been designed to create, if it's necessary in the future and there's some budget in it, applications, APIs that we communicate with other energy tools or with other programs that will need this information. That's okay, no, Joe?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And there are two final questions regarding more the philosophy of the SPEEDIER project more than related to the app. In that case, one of the questions is if the SPEEDIER expert could work remotely, and regarding also the SPEEDIER concept, how the SPEEDIER project will be distributed, or how could reach the SMEs.
Okay, so in terms of can the SPEEDIER expert work remotely? Yes, I think is the answer. We have been trying to do exactly that. During this coronavirus pandemic, we have not been able to go out to visit SMEs to carry out site surveys and walk around audits as we had planned to. at the start. So we have had to make some changes internally to the way that we try to deliver this service. Of course, it's more difficult. Of course, it's different to how we would normally like to run an audit. But we have had some success at working with a SPEEDIER champion within the SME to help us to access the data that we need to make the opportunities assessment in the first place. The challenge is that their attention, of course, is now fully on running their business and recovering from the economic challenges that they're facing at the moment. So the SMEs that we're working with now, they're very busy. We are re-engaging with many of them, and they're providing us with data. It's just that things happen more slowly because their attention is elsewhere. Having said that, we have had some success where they have sent us data. We've been able to do a desktop analysis of that data. We've also been able to have conversations on the phone or on a video call to ask the kind of questions that we would normally ask as energy auditors to gather the data that we need to make an assessment. And in some cases, we are asking the SPEEDIER champion within the SMEs to go, for example, and take photos for us of the equipment that they have on site and the general arrangement of that equipment, so that we can make an online and desktop assessment. So yes, it can work remotely. It's more difficult, but it can work. And of course, we all are adapting to this new way of working at the moment. And there are lessons to be learned from that around how we can streamline the process going forward. So yes. Was there a second question there, Herman? Have I missed one?
Yes, the second question is more related to how the SPEEDIER project will be able to reach more SMEs, I guess, in the sense that how could we be more successful in reaching SMEs? That is one of the final goals of the project. Yes.
Okay. So as I mentioned, it has been challenging this year because the attention has been on economic recovery, as it should be, understandably. What we're trying to do with SPEEDIER is to position it as a way to assist SMEs with their economic recovery. So, better management of energy bills, reduction in energy consumption, potentially will free up cash for them in their business, which they really need right now. So, yes, potentially we're trying to position it as a way to assist SMEs with their recovery, particularly where the business has a very high energy usage. Of course, this is more applicable to those businesses compared to perhaps very small organizations where the energy bill is very small, but it's an opportunity to engage with them. What we're also trying to do is work with professional bodies and membership organizations. So, for example, chambers of commerce, who already have links with lots of SMEs and who might be able to help us to access those SMEs through a service provision. Or it could be professional bodies for particular sectors. So if you have a specialism in a particular sector and there's a professional body associated with that, perhaps they might promote the service to their members. So we're looking at a variety of different options to try and reach more SMEs and to try and get the message out there. And really our approach is to work with as many organizations as we can and try to leverage their connections by showing them the value of the SPEEDIER service.
Thank you very much, Joe. I think you have made a clear comment on that. I would like just to add a little bit on that, in the sense that I think now, as you said, the most important aspects were the health, and now the economic aspects are being dealt clearly through the recovery plans, for example, in the different countries. I think this is a good opportunity for the energy transition, and definitely the SPEEDIER project tries to take a part on this energy transition that is something that we need to address clearly. And this is a good opportunity for using using appropriately the recovery plan funds, in particular the next generation Europe funds that are available in different countries. I would like to thank all speakers and attendees for this, for their participation and their suggestions, and of course, speakers for their presentations. And I would like to hand over again to Jo for drawing main conclusions of the event, as she is the coordinator of the SPEEDIER project and working for the International Energy Research Center of Ireland, and who is doing an exceptional work in this project. So please, Jo, I would appreciate if you could draw the main conclusions of today's event. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you all very much for attending and for staying online with us, for responding to our questions, our surveys, for talking to us through the chat. It's been a really interesting morning for the project team as well, to learn from you about what you think about some of these ideas. So in conclusion, just to draw everything together, I think what we've tried to show you this morning is that it is possible to take a different approach to engage more SMEs in the ideas behind energy auditing and implementation of energy efficiency measures. What we started with was the position where it's often difficult to persuade SMEs first to have the audit, and second, once they have had an audit, to actually implement any of the energy efficiency recommendations. So what we've presented you with over the last 2 days is a series of tools and ideas that might be useful in your business to help to engage those SMEs. And that ranges from helping them to develop an energy culture within their organization, so working with a champion within the business. We talked about the importance of having that commitment and talking to the business about their strategic objectives, so that you can align your approach with those strategic business objectives, rather than using very technical language and only talking about energy. We also discussed how it's really important that the business case works, but it's equally important to know how better managing energy can align with the business's overall strategic objectives to help them to make that decision to commit to those energy efficiency improvements. We talked about self-financing as a way of overcoming the barrier that SMEs often cite, which is lack of finance. So we talked about starting with the easy, quick win, no cost measures to build a fund, but also to build trust. That's another important element of it. It shows that the expert knows what they're talking about and can be trusted, and helps to develop and build that trusted relationship and your position as a trusted supplier of the SME. And then today we've talked about some of the tools that the SPEEDIER project has built to help you to implement those processes. So you have had a demonstration of the SPEEDIER tool for experts. You have access to that already via any web browser. Just register and then you can log in and test it. And we've talked about a mobile application as a method of building an energy culture within the SME, and the use of some gamification principles to encourage engagement. So I really hope that you've enjoyed the sessions over the last 2 days. As I mentioned, if you've missed any of it, these sessions have been recorded and they will be available on our website over the next few days. You will also receive a survey for feedback. We'd like to hear your ideas on what did you think of the event, and how could we improve, because we will run more of these events in future. And as I mentioned, we'd like to stay in touch with you. We'd like to work with you going forwards, and if we can be of assistance in any way, please do let us know via our website, or use our contact details, which will come with the emails. We will take all the questions from the chat and try to answer them all in a separate document. I know we didn't get around to everything this morning, but we will answer everyone's questions after the event. So all that remains for me to do is to say thank you. Thank you to the speakers for your time. Thank you very much to those who have organised the event, and the technical team behind the scenes who've been working to make sure the event runs smoothly. Thanks to all of you for attending. over the last 2 days. Really appreciate your time and thanks for your feedback. That's all from us. Have a good day.
Thank you, Joe. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.